I think we're good, Campbell. I think we're good. Yeah. We got a camera. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
I'm okay. Can you speak to me again? I just want to make sure I got your volume up.
Check, 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 check,
Okay.
check,
I
check.
think that's good. Cool. Cool. What's up for breakfast today?
I had a bagel with eggs and bacon.
Nice. And you made it yourself? All right.
Well, I didn't make the bacon myself, but yeah.
Speaking of making stuff ourselves.
What happened last time?
So we're talking about, I think, last Saturday.
Yes.
Last Saturday, we were over in this space.
And last Saturday, we added the moving average. No, that was on Friday. Right?
Maybe. Yeah, so you're basically seeing the moving average down there below at the bottom there of the stock. It's using two different ranges. The green one that's a little smoother is using a longer range there to get that average. We talked about this problem last Saturday, I think, but if you notice when it moves,
Right.
look at the 6
Yeah,
days
we added
days.
the ability to select an area.
Yep.
So now we can just boop.
We can select an area. We're not doing anything with it,
No.
but we are selecting it. Anyway, what I was saying about these two different curves, the one that is sharper has got a smaller, it's a moving average in a smaller range. And the green one that's thicker is a longer range in terms of the moving average. You'll notice though that they move a little bit. And the moving of those is I'm deeming that not good. And that's a reflection. We talked about this before last time. Do you remember anything about that conversation?
Yes, I do, kind of. It means that, right.
It was this picture right here. We're not currently calculating like this. What we're doing is we're saying, okay, we're weighing the points differently based on what's inside the range. And what we really need to be doing is take the point and multiply it by the amount of time it's in the range. And I've got this right here to illustrate that it's not really this. This is not really happening, even though we're charting it like that. What's really happening is the stock is at this price, and then it suddenly changes to this price because of a buy order, for example, and demand increases, so the price goes up. And then maybe demand drops a little bit, and then it's now at this level for some time. And so I contend that in order to get this right, we need to multiply, we need to calculate how long within this range that this stock price is active and multiply it by that time, add all of that up, divide everything by the total time, and then I contend we're going to get a chart that doesn't move up and down as we change what range we're looking at, that it should just be all the same. That's my theory on that.
All right.
So at the top is the actual price. This is mapping Bitcoins to US dollar, the USDT coin. So we're just looking at one where we've hooked up to Bittrex and we're getting the data coming in. I also mentioned last time that I had a concern about the data coming in as
Yeah.
as a Bittrex tick. That's what I was concerned about, because this is something that is native to the API that comes from Bittrex, which is one exchange.
Yeah.
And there are several large exchanges out there, and they're all going to have their own different versions of the data they send. And I'm concerned about we're about to start saving data. And I'm concerned about saving data in a way that is that's aligned with Bittrex. I would rather get it in our own custom format.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm worried about it. And we're about to do it. So I'm since I'm worried about it, one of the things that I've learned over like, about 40 years of programming is I've learned that if you're worried about something a little bit, generally what happens is you only continue to worry about it more. Right? It just doesn't go away. That's kind of what I'm thinking about. So, since we're worried a little bit, I think we create something that's similar, but our own thing. Since we are, brand new to this, we'll base it off of the Bittrex tick. Is what we'll do. So we'll do something like this. Okay? But we'll call it our own custom tick. So create a new class here. Why don't you do it? Create a new class for me and call it custom tick or our tick or something like that.
And now
I want to get you can do AS to get or you can paste what's on the clipboard inside there, whatever you want to do. Okay. We're getting a whole bunch of these because it's running. I'm going to go ahead and stop it. So we've got a custom tick. So we've got a symbol, a last trade rate, a bid rate, and an ask rate. And I want to change these right now immediately to ask price, bid rate. Well, wait, hold on, not yet, actually. I don't want to do it yet. Because the reason I don't want to do it yet is I want to first substitute ours for theirs. Okay? So let's move this to its own file. Okay, call it custom tick. And in its constructor, let's create a constructor that accepts a Bittrex tick. Do I have to go into here, .NET Bittrex tick. Where is it? It's somewhere in there. Let's just do this, hit the coder's key. Okay, using Bittrex.net.objects. Okay, so we'll take the tick, the Bittrex tick coming in, like that, and then we're going to come in and we're going to say, hey, symbol is equal to Bittrex tick dot symbol. Like that. Can you use Shift Enter to get the rest of the properties? Okay, good. All right, so now this is what we did. This is a constructor. Remember what constructors do, Campbell?
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
They allow you to take information and give it values, or give it a value, and then make that value able to be changed via code.
Okay, constructors allocate memory.
What does allocate mean?
Memory for allocate means set aside. Memory or provide an instance of a class. Maybe the most important word is an instance. Another way of putting it is constructors instantiate. They create new things. Important word here is new. That's what a constructor does. Tell me about this parameter. How would we use this? What would this thing do if we called custom tick and passed in a Bittrex tick?
Well, then each of these would change depending on what that Bittrex tick was.
We call that initialization. Like that. The construction, all that setting aside of memory, that all kind of technically, you could argue that it kind of happens here before we get here. So at this point, the time we hit this open brace, there's an instance of custom tick that's already built. Okay? And then when I reference symbol...
And at this time it's empty.
What'd you say?
And at this time it's empty. But then once we go through to symbol...
Yeah. I wouldn't necessarily use empty, but I would say everything's got their default values. So say, for example, I said that this was going to default to a double quote, then symbol would be equal to a double quote at this point right here. Everything at this point, everything's got its default value. So at this point, the instance is created and every field and property have their default values. In fact, if we put a breakpoint on this line right here, and we called create a new custom tick, passing in a Bittrex tick, we would hit this breakpoint right here before we got to this line of code. We put another breakpoint here. We would hit this one first because we'd have to execute that initialization.
Yeah.
So any initialization, if I set my default bed rate to 0 or I set it to 4 or 5 or whatever, that would execute first. Okay, when we create a new one. All right, just a little background on that. Okay? So, we can create a new custom tick and we can pass in a Bittrex tick. Let's go back to where we were. Main window. Subscribe to symbol, ticker update, update last price, getting a Bittrex tick data in here. Right? Well, at this point, I don't want to deal with a Bittrex tick anymore. I don't. So what I want to do instead is I want to say something like this. Custom tick, our data is equal to new. And what do you think I'm going to say?
Probably custom tick.
And then what is passed to it?
Data.
Right. And data, so see what's happening here? Data is of type Bittrex tick, right? We call it data here. Doesn't matter what I call it here. And over here we call it Bittrex tick. Doesn't matter what I call it here, right? It's the same instance going in. But inside this method, I'm going to call it Bittrex tick because that's what I want to call it. Okay? Because it's whatever useful to call it that down there. Be thinking of it that way. What's cool about this is if we come in later and we get a Kraken tick, or a Kraken tick, whatever you want to call that, we can come down here, we can create a new version of this, a Kraken tick like this. Like that. And there might be a situation in here where Kraken tick's got something different. It's got, you know, whatever, you know, it's got, we're going to still have our symbol over here, but they might have something called quote currency, like that, quote currency, and they might also have another piece that's like, for example, called base currency. And then we are going to maybe combine those two together with a concatenated string or with something else, like that. And so what we'll do is we'll convert the Kraken tick into something where we can get our data that we need to get.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the value of this. So we'll always be working with our custom tick. That also means that right now our chart translator, it only works with the Bittrex tick, I think. Let's see if there's any Bittrex ticks in here. There we go. See it? Add stock position. Look at this. It takes this. Well, we're going to change this right now to custom tick. Okay? I don't want to see Bittrex tick in here anywhere. Is there any other Bittrex tick in here? Let's go see if there's anything else. Bittrex. Nothing. That means, see this? Using statement? I can get rid of it. Now what's super cool is I don't need to know about Bittrex. I don't need to know about Kraken. I don't need to know about anything. My chart translator is going to work with all of them.
Yeah.
Okay? That's the value there. Next, stock data point. We need to go look at, there's probably an error at this point that we've introduced. It's probably close to, here it is right here. It's close to where I made the change. See that? I changed that from Bittrex tick to data. Stock data point's got a problem here. The problem is,
doesn't match.
Can't convert custom tick to a Bittrex tick. Because stock data point needs a Bittrex tick. See it?
Yes.
What do you think I want to do here?
Change it to custom tick.
That's exactly what I want to do. Whoops, that's not custom tick. Okay. And now, what's the next problem I got to fix?
Tick. Right.
Where's the fix to this? See if you can find that. There you go. Good job. Control left arrow is a faster way to get to the beginning of the line. Try that. Get in the middle. Get to the beginning of the line with control left arrow. Practice hitting those keys together. Control left and right are really going to help you a lot in programming. Okay, cool. Now we have that. Excellent. Let's build it and see where our problems are next. Okay, so we're expecting to see errors like this.
Yeah.
Can't convert.
Bittrex tick to custom tick.
Okay, add stock position. Okay, here it is. See it?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, how are we going to fix this? How are we going to convert a Bittrex tick to a custom tick? And we've already, well, actually, we don't have to convert. We've actually already done it here. See that? Our data is of type custom tick.
Oh.
We need a custom tick here. So we just pop that in there.
Data.
Okay, now let's try it again. Rebuild. Let's test it. Make sure we see charting working. Yeah, it looks like we got data. And the data looks like it's real.
Seems like it.
What did you say?
Seems like it.
Okay, all right. So that now makes Dad calm down, right? I get less worried. We've now got our data in a totally agnostic. Coding Gorilla says, time to learn about implicit, explicit, custom operators.
Hello, Coding Gorilla. I think I've noticed a bug in our code.
Maybe too advanced?
I'm not sure if it exists, but it might. So, you know how we trim it? If there are extra zeros, we trim those extra zeros. I think that what the code is doing is if say this one ended, it was 0.4, and then it was other numbers, but some of these points, or even just this point, was less than that, but we trimmed it so we couldn't see the zeros, and the code wasn't comparing those zeros to those extra digits on this point.
You think these two numbers might be different?
No. I think that if this number were 461.412345 and this one was just 0.400000, and we trimmed those zeros, the code would think they were the same.
No, I don't think so. I don't think we have that bug, is my gut reaction. We can do a test. We can spend some time on that, create a test case to verify if we do or not. But my gut reaction is we do not have that. That's not the problem, because it only cuts off the zeros if there's zeros there. If there's anything else, it won't cut those off.
Exactly. Which is why it wouldn't cut off those extra numbers on the first point, but it would cut off the zeros on the other point. And it would compare them and see the first digits as the same, and it would be like, okay, that's true, so these are the same, because
no, they wouldn't, because
to compare.
Because no, I see what you're saying. No, it would continue to compare and see that the other digits on the other one are not, that they're different.
Okay.
It would. Even if it was a string or if it was a number, it would continue to do that. Flav Creations is out there. Welcome, Flav. Coding Gorilla said, time to learn about implicit, explicit, custom operators.
We worked on that with the super calculator, right?
Yeah, super calculator, we had implicit conversion. We built in that. I'm not feeling it for this. I'm actually feeling, I like the explicit construction here for the conversion. I do. Also, we would need to, we could also do this. We could create an extension method that changes Bittrex tick to a custom tick as well. But right now, I guess what I'm saying is, yeah, we could spend more time and learn about that again, bring that up again, Coding Gorilla. But I think I'm just feeling it. I'm feeling like this is the place to be right now. Right now, I'm satisfied with this. We can change that later and learn about it. Look, I'm a big fan. I'll tell you, I'm a big fan, Coding Gorilla, of not only implicit conversion, but also operator overloads, which we did both of in the super number calculator. Right, Campbell? You remember that? We created a super number. We created operator overloads for multiplication,
yeah,
divide, plus and minus. And the sweet thing about that implementation is our, oh, by the way, Campbell, maybe, I don't know if this is a pro tip or not, but maybe, I don't know if how Twitch feels about you pulling your gum out in front of the camera the whole show. Oh my goodness, is that what we're in for? I'm gonna let you do it if you want to, but I'm just saying, there are some people that might be like, oh, I don't want to see gum coming out of a kid's mouth. Excuse me, Mark Miller. I can't believe you're showing that on your show. The cool thing about our operator overloads is that our divide, we basically just made a call to invert and then called multiply. And our minus, we just made a call to negate it, and then we called add. Remember that, Campbell? All this complicated code was in add and multiply, and divide and minus were both super simple. So I'm a huge fan of it. It also makes it much easier to use the objects, right? We were able to create test cases that had essentially numbers in strings, right? 1.23 plus 2.45. Campbell, you're just moving your eyes in a funny way right now. Are you following what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Hold on, let's go open up, what is it, SuperCalc?
SuperCalc.
Let's open up SuperCalc. Flav Creations says, I was just waiting for it to get in the hair. The gum. The gum, Campbell. This is a move I don't recommend. Watch. Look, this is a move I used to do. Look at me. You see me? Watch. That move doesn't work anymore for me. So what do we got? Super number right here. Super number extension. Sorry, I clicked the wrong one. Yeah, this guy, was a really cool class we created.
Yeah.
I'm just looking for the multiply. Here we go. Operator overloads. So we have, and here's our implicit conversion right here. Yeah. So let's see the operator overloads for multiplication. There it is right there. There's plus, there's minus, and then there's divide. So there's divide being super simple, whereas times is more complicated. And so the super number could hold fractions. Right? Flav Creations says, laughing out loud, if you blow a bubble, it'll pop into your facial hair. I know. That'll be a big day for me. That'll be a big day. Okay. So kids, today what we're going to work on is we got this thing right here. We have the ability to select and grab a selection, but nothing else, right? All this is a selection, and this is our selection class. Close down SuperCalc, I don't think we need it anymore. Oh, I was going to show one other thing in our unit tests over here. Our testing engine was kind of cool in that we could declare a number as a string and it would turn it into the fraction 5 3/4. And we could, where are the other ones? Just the power is kind of interesting. We could do things like this. What's 4 meters per second times 2 and expect to get 8 meters per second?
And we could also do 4 meters per second times 2.15625.
Right, right. All of these tests, we got all of these working. That was some great work. Look at us, we were geniuses. Right? And so these are all our test cases for the super number out there. If you're interested in that, Campbell, you want to give them a link for that? You want to give me the,
yes.
Bring that page up? We'll put a link out to that if you're interested in the super number. It was actually did some cool things. And it could also answer a lot of questions that were out on Khan Academy.
Where is it?
You want to click the repositories right there. Because this is, you've got your popular repositories and then you've got like 5 more. So calc, let me get that link right there. I'll pop that in over there to you kids. That's SuperCalc if you're interested in that. The one we're working on today is, it's not here either in this list. It is
stock analysis.
Stock analysis. That's what we're working on right now. And I think everything's checked in. Is that right? Can we double check that, Campbell? Make sure you got all that code checked in. Switch over to, yeah, there you go. Okay, looks good. Oh, no. We just made those changes, right?
Yes.
So we just made those changes. So we've switched over to a custom tick.
From this Bittrex.
No longer relying upon, whoops. Okay, were you starting to type that? No
I
longer
don't think so.
needing a Bittrex tick for low-level hops. And that's cool. So we no longer have a dependency down below on that. Sometimes I'll say down below, Campbell, and what I mean is I mean the lower parts of the code. The parts that don't depend on everything else.
Yeah.
And up above are the parts that depend on the down below stuff. It's typically what I mean when I'm talking about that. So that's kind of what's going on there. We'll make that change. We'll post those changes right out there. So you've got that in case you want to get that stock analysis code and make lots of money like Campbell and I are going to do soon. You never know.
Well, we'll either make a lot of money or our code will have multiple bugs in it and we'll lose a lot of money.
Yeah, we're putting our coding on the line, right? We're going to put our coding on the line. Okay, so stock analysis over here still running. Piece I wanted to show here is this new class we added last time called selection. We added this on Saturday, I think, or the last time we did the show.
Yeah.
And we've got a couple events on change, that triggers the events when it's changing. That's allowing us to update as we change the selection. So as we click and drag, we do that. The selection moves with the chart. So if I line it up just with this point right here, this data point right there, as the chart gets more data, the selection moves with it. So it stays with it. The selection, we know the selection. Now at this point, what do we want to do with the selection? Well, I'm moving towards being able to get it. 2 things actually, Campbell, that I want to do with this. One is I want to be able to create test cases easily. So I want to be able to grab something and say, let's build a test case on this. Okay, that's number 1. Number 2 is from a usability standpoint, I kind of want to be able to zoom in. I want to select a range to zoom in, and when I hit the zoom button, I want that range to now be going
all
wide.
across the screen.
Yeah. And when I zoom out, I want to go right back to here. It's last man. I don't know if you've seen
I have.
last man before. Oh, yeah? Okay, great. Last man's asking, how are today's stock prices for tea? Nobody knows that answer. We just have Bitcoin up. We just know what but you can buy.
Yeah, nobody ever knows. Last man, it's gone up $1,000.
It's gone up $1,000. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
All right.
1,000 and counting.
All right, let's get some flowers in here. We need to get some flowers in here before we write any code. By the way, last night, for kids who were on my show yesterday, I was working on getting the projectile working. At the end of the show, we got the projectile going in a straight line. And last night, I got it going in a Bezier path and accelerating or decelerating on the path. So it'll go like that. And so I'm able to, it actually makes that sound effect, the and so that was kind of cool. Got that working. Let me see what's going on over here. So kind of that's what I'm looking at right there. I want to do, let me just close down Dropbox here on my machine. I want to be able to select a range and then do something with it. That's what I want to do. And we're talking about saving data, right? If we're going to write test cases, we need to be able to save data.
Yeah.
Your camera is updating slowly, Campbell, so you look like you're kind of, you just were frozen with this piece of gum in your mouth. I don't know, that's what I want to do. Let's go figure out how to do that. I think we'll add a button. When we hit the button, it'll grab the data, the selection, and save it. Why not? Let's do that. We should be able to add a button right now. I should be able to come in here and just say button, check, test range, I'll call it, test selection. Come on, fingers. Put that text in it, and we'll hook up we can't hook up a click unless we get a breakpoint. So I'm going to just do that, set a breakpoint there, so we can get a click. Once that gets a breakpoint, I can hook up the click event. So come back over here, and we're going to say, what is it, click, and we're going to create a new event handler, and there's our new event handler. We'll set a breakpoint here. We'll clear the other breakpoint that we set up here. Thought I'd get to it faster. If I just hit F10, there it is, and we'll clear it and run. Okay, now test selection. So I'm going to select, and now I'm going to hit test selection. Boom. Cool. We got a breakpoint.
Yes.
Right? So now what we should be able to do is go into that selection class. Whoops. The selection class, which I think is a static class. Thought it was. What's going on with selection? Yeah, it's acting. Okay. Okay. So if selection exists, then we can come in here and do something with it. And I think what I want to do is I want to go to, my chart translator, because I think the chart translator is holding all the data. And I want to say get points in range. And I want to pass in selection dot start and selection dot, is it end? Like that. So let's go declare that. Okay?
Yes.
Now, if we're going to get these points, then right now I'm kind of locking it, is what we're doing. Oh wait, what's this? Oh, look at this. Get data points in range. It already exists. But how is it different from the one that we just declared? It's got a time, and then it's time span in seconds. Down here, this has got a start and an end time. Tell me that you understand. I need something to know that you understand,
I understand
these differences. What's going on? What do we have to do to make one work with the other? Tell me just conceptually, what's going on? What'd you say?
I'm not sure what to do.
Okay.
What we would need
What's
to
the
do.
difference between the two?
Between start and end? Or
Between this one and the other one. Here, I'm going to move this down so we can see these close to each other. All right. We're calling this, which we haven't built yet, and we already have this, get data points in range.
Oh, well, get data points in range. It takes everything that is all of the dots on the screen, all of the data points on the screen, and it uses those to calculate the moving average. The one that we're creating right now is getting the points in the selection range, correct?
Yeah. What's interesting about this is that this actually takes time and subtracts half time span from each one, or adds it. In fact, if I refactor this, I would do this. I would call this the half time span. So what this does is this takes a center point, a time center point, which also I would probably rename this, say time center point, like that. Now, because we're running, it doesn't. I'm going to go ahead and kill the app because it's going to give me all these things because of editing. Continue. But check it out. What happens here and here?
We have start range and end range, and we declare them.
Yeah, what's going on with those?
It's the start of the screen and the end of the screen.
It's not. Not of the screen.
Or I guess of the space that we're occupying on the WPF.
No, not quite. It's a look. What's the type of both of these?
Oh.
What's the type? No, just tell me what's the type.
It's a date time.
It's a date time, right? So if it's a date time, right? This is the start of a range, and this is the end range. They're both date times. What does that tell you?
So it's the time of the first dot that came in. That's start range.
Not the first one that came in, because look, we're calculating it as at the time center point minus half the time span.
Yeah, the first one that came in. The first data point.
Last event says refactor time to refactor. Yeah, I'm gonna refactor even more. I'm gonna pull this out. I'm gonna introduce a local for this one.
It's the time of the first data point.
Okay, the first data point, yeah. Okay, hold on a second. Let me just do this. We're gonna call this half time span in seconds, like that. Okay?
Uh-huh.
So now back to this. What's happening here? Tell me about this. Just tell me about it. And it's okay to say, I don't know what's happening. That's okay too.
Well, for what? What piece are you
These two lines of code. I'm just looking at these two lines of code. What's going on here?
It's finding the time of the first data point that came in and the time of the latest data point.
It's not, yeah, first and last are right. It's not data point that come in. It's data point. Look at down here. We're using start range down here. Say, hey, if the time is after the start range, then we can add it to the point and collect it. Basically, the code from here to here goes through everything in our stock data points and gets everything inside this range.
From the time of the first data point to the time of the latest data point.
From start range to end range, yeah. Yeah, it is not necessarily, when you say first data point, I think you mean the first data point we received since we started running. And when you say the last data point, I think you mean the one we most recently got.
Yeah.
Well, that's not the case likely because we could be grabbing something inside of that. And that's what start range and end range are doing.
Yes, but time center point in this method it's in the center.
It's not in the center. It's the time center point is where we're asking about. So remember small moving average.
But where we use this method, everywhere we use this method, the time center point is in the middle of the screen.
Time center point is what?
Is in the middle of the screen.
It's not. Watch. When we call it, we're only calling from one place, get moving average. Get moving average has got a for loop right here, and it's passing in time at data point, and that time at data point is going across the screen. At each point, we're passing in a center point, and then we're asking, give me the range around you, give me the values around you. Then we move a little further. We say, give me the values around you. So moving average goes like that. Give me another one, right? See what's happening?
Uh-huh.
So it's not the center of the screen, right? And also that's the other thing too. Think about this. This is like an important thing to think about when you think about methods, is don't think about don't trust that the way you think it's being called is the way it's always going to be called.
But the way it...
I'm hearing like some extra banging over there that's coming across on the mic. Can you just...
Yeah.
Go ahead. So don't trust that this will always be called as like, you know, the center or whatever, because you don't know. You just don't know. This could be, and really the less you trust, the better your methods are going to be. That's what I think. Okay, so here's the deal. From here to here, this does what we want to do right here. It takes a start range and end range. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that and I'm going to extract that. And I'm going to do that and I'm going to call it the same name as what I've got right here. Get points in range. Lasamet says, and I'm going to delete this one. Okay, Lasamet says, hardest part about teaching is asking questions the right way. I get the feeling Campbell doesn't quite understand what you imply with your question. Yeah, I think you're right, Lasamet. I think you're right. I think when, and I should be clear that when I say things like, hey, tell me about these right here, I just want to talk about them. I don't necessarily need to know the specifics of those things, but I also think, Lasamet, that in the past when I've been in a situation, it's been a really good idea to draw a picture. That's what I think. So we've got get points in range and get data points in range. I'm going to rename this one to just get points in range, like that. And now, so we have one that takes a start range and an end range, and another one that takes a time center point and a time span in seconds. Agreed, picture's always ideal things for that. So to illustrate what this one does, maybe we're going to rename this again. Get points around time. Get points around time is maybe what we'll call that. And let's switch over to my machine here. What's happening is this right here. Remember this from last time? We're taking time span divided by 2 and we're grabbing it, and we're doing this anywhere along here. I'm asking you that, Campbell. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. So that's what we're talking about there. So that's why I was like, well, it's not the center. It's whatever point you're asking about. And then we go backwards in time and forwards in time and collect everything in that range. Okay? So what's kind of happening now with the code that we've got is that get points around time is just figuring out the start and end range and then calling get points in range.
Yeah.
All right. Let's rename this just so we can start and end in there. And the only thing I'm thinking about changing is changing to this. Wait, if it's greater than, okay, yeah. But in here, if it's greater than or equal to, I'm just going to change that. So if it does happen to start on the same one, we'll include that as well. Okay? All right, that's the method. Get points in range. Okay. So now we've got this get points in range. Whoops, let's make this public. And then what we want to do is find the other place where we were. That was in our copy button. And we're going to say get points in range. And we're going to declare local there. And maybe we'll just set a breakpoint here. And we'll run it. All right, we'll see that coming in. So we've got that gray bar across the top is our test button.
We'll probably need to change that. Its width.
You can change it right now while we're waiting for data to come in. You can go into the XAML and say max width is equal to like 100. And just alt tab over and see how it looks.
That's not what I want.
Did you hit like Control S? Hold on.
Control S.
Do it again. Bring it up. Okay. Control Alt S is what it looks like it's thinking it's seeing, but I'm going to just disable that. Okay. All right. Go try Control S again. There you go.
All right.
I think the Alt key might have been stuck. All right, so we've got some data coming in. Test selection smaller. All right, once you select some data, there may only be one point in that range, but now hover over points in range and see how many explore that. It's only got one point.
One.
And then open it up though. Let's look at it. And then open up tick. So you see the time it came in, and there's the price.
Yeah.
And the symbol. Okay. Go ahead and run it. You can clear the. You can run it. Just hit run. You can keep the breakpoint. More data coming in over there. So select more data and see if we get more ticks inside of that. So we're supposed to see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 maybe? What's it, 7 maybe?
Yeah.
6. Sweet. If that feels like it's working, go ahead and run it. Again, let it collect more data. All right, let's learn about, we're going to switch over to my machine here for a second. We're going to learn about how we're going to save this. So there are basically two things we're going to look at. We're going to look at something called JSON as a way to serialize the data out. So JSON is a format for storing objects, and it actually looks like what you're seeing in the comment here. If you were to remove all the commented parts on the left, it's basically has this is the property, and this is the value. So I've got a property called name, and the value is Apple. I've got a property called expiry date, and this is the value is a date, how you encode a date.
Yeah.
I've got a price, its value is $3.99. And I can even have like an array of things, like sizes.
Array, sorry.
What'd you say?
Array, sorry.
Yeah. An array is done with the square brackets. And then the elements of the array are right inside. And this can just continue all the way down. I can have objects. An object uses this symbol here and that symbol in JSON. Okay? So I can essentially take anything and serialize it.
Yeah.
And serialize means turn it into a string, essentially. And then I can go back from a string to get back to the object again. And why are we talking about serialization? Why are we talking about turning it into a string and back? Do you know why?
No, I don't.
Well, because I want to save the data. And to save the data, I need a string. And to read the data, I need a string. I need to get it in a format I can save it and then turn it back into my objects with the right data on them. Does that make sense? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so that's what we're talking about. So to work with JSON serialization, I want to bring in a product called Newtonsoft, which I don't think we're using that package yet.
I thought we were, or we talked about it.
Let's see if we are. View, Solution Explorer.
I remember at least hearing about it.
Yeah, it's there. Sweet. Newtonsoft is there. So we should be able to, we get a breakpoint out here. Let's do this. Click the button. Oh, can I get to the button? Uh-oh, I got a bug. I can't get to the button because I've got the stock price right next to it. However, I see the button is focused, so I can just hit enter on it like that, or hit spacebar on it. All right. So, I think it's JSON convert is what it is. And so we're going to go in there, and then there's like two at the top. See these two methods at the top with stars? So Visual Studio will put stars in there, items that you're
most used ones, right?
Yeah. And so I've got serialized object and deserialized object.
Yes.
Serialized means turn it into a serial long string of letters, essentially is what that is. Deserialized means take it from
the letters to whatever it was
right.
before.
Last one says there's also a newer implementation of JSON with .NET 5. Did you check that out already? No, I've not seen that. Let me go check that out. What is that? JSON .NET 5. We're not in .NET 5 right now. We are in .NET 4.7. Let's see here. Performance, reliability makes it easier for people to adopt, for people who are familiar with JSON, Newtonsoft.json. Sweet. So it's systemtext.json. Nice. JSON serialize or .serialize. And then another one, JSON serialize.deserialize. I like this name better than JSON convert, but it's okay. Coding Gorilla says it was actually in .NET Core 3, but even in .NET 5, it's a much slimmer implementation than Newtonsoft. Well, that's cool. In general, I think slimmer is, you know, if you don't need everything else, it's good. Cool. So that's good to know. We're going to stick with JSON convert over here because that's what we're running, and we're in the middle of a breakpoint. So I want to choose serialize object. And the object I'm going to give it is points in range. Like that. Points in range. Like that. And I'm going to declare it local like that. And now what I'm going to do is execute that line of code, and we're going to look at what that string looks like. Here's the string. That's what it looks like. Okay?
Yeah, that's a lot.
Coding Gorilla says slimmer in the sense that it's not as capable and has a lot more limitations. Got it. Okay. Thanks for that, Coding Gorilla. You know what I like to do when we'll say awesome things? Awesome contributions! That's what I like to do. All right, so we've got the object there. Now we want to save it. I think there's something in file. I think there's something out there called file. I got maybe go to system.io.file to save everything. Save. Yeah, there's a read all text. See that?
Yeah.
I'm hoping to for a write all text. There it is, right there. Write all text. Then it wants a path. And then it's the contents. The contents is going to be this guy right here. Okay? The path, well, that's a little trickier. I need to get to, I think I can do this. I think I can do like app data, like that. And then maybe a backslash, and then maybe we'll call this test file .json. Too bad I need to escape the backslash there. That might work. Let's see what that does. We might get an error. Who knows? Could not find part of the path. Oh, look, it turned app data into that. Oh no, it did not. It did not. It totally didn't. There's that piece at the end. It just added it to it. What's interesting is it's using the folder we're running from. So I could come back and say, all right, let's do this instead. I thought app data would work there, but I guess it's not. I think there's another way to do it. Let me go do it. I haven't done this in a while, so let me do some research on this. I'm going to type in C# and then app data folder. How do I get that? There it is right there. That's what I need. I need a call to environment, get folder path. Okay, that's what I'm going to get. So we'll do that. So we'll come back to your machine. And I'm going to do that there. Actually, I'd like you to go and declare a local for that. So paste it in the sample code there. Folder path, good. Get to the next line. And then we're going to create a special folder is better? Wait, are we doing... Oh, instead of application data for saving? Hold on. Is there a special folder? No, I think we are maybe using it, aren't we? Special folder right there. Coding Gorilla. Oh, special folders. It's got a link. Lasamat comes in too as well with a link. Look at that. Get folder. Get folder path. Environment get folder path. That's exactly what we're doing. So Lasamat, I think we're doing both. Oh, and there's something I missed earlier too. Lasamat said so far Newton King is working on it. So same author as the Newtonsoft version. Okay, cool. Cool. Yep, that's it. I spoke too soon. All right, so good. Coding Gorilla has got us, agrees with what we're saying here. So we're going to get the folder path there. Then we can go into system file, and there's something in there called path, and we can call combine. And what we can do with combine is we can give it the folder path at the beginning, and at the end we can give it like testfile.json as a string. And what it will do is it will give us both of those as a single file, I believe. So we'll call this file name, like that. And then we're going to do write all text to the file name, like that. So we're going to come in here one more time. We're going to go here, folder path. There it is. See that? That's the path where your application data is stored. Then I'm going to go in and I'm going to say, okay, get me this. Okay, cool. And now I've got a file name, and now I'm going to say write all text, and I just did, and now no errors. Now, if we come out here, if I copy that, I'll get all of that, and I copy that, and then we start up Notepad, and we say file open, and I paste that in, there's that serialized piece that we just wrote out. So the file's out there on disk. Now, Lasamat suggests that we rename this, I think. Lasamat says file name's a little misleading. It's not just the file name, but it's the full path. So we're going to call this full path to file, maybe. To file. Thanks, Lasamat. Full path to file. Now, I copied that to the clipboard. It's all there. I can go out online and I can ask for this. I can ask for a JSON formatter like that. And now I can come in here and paste that and say process that. And now it does it like this. And now I can come in here, copy all of this and go back over into Notepad and paste it here. And now we can see it a little bit better.
Yeah.
Okay, here's the data. So we've got an array. This means it's an array. This means I've got an object from here to here. Okay, see that from there to there? That's an object too. Okay, So this is called tick. It's got a symbol, last trade rate, a bid rate, and an ask rate. It's got a time, and it's got a weight, which is one of the pieces we are putting with it. This weight, by the way, for anybody who's looking at this, that means there were 46 trades that happened at the exact same rate between the last one and this one, and we just cleaned them out. We weren't looking at bid rate or ask rate, only that the last trade rate was the same. You can also tell JSON Convert to format it if you want it on disk that way. That is right. Coding Gorilla helped us out with that before on my other show, Campbell, and I think it's going to be in here. It's an option in this call here. Formatting dot indented. See that? If we come back up here again and we say, okay, let's run the code again, go right here, save it out one more time, and now we come back over here and we do open without saving this, and we say, let's open up the file. We want to look at all files. There it is. See the test file JSON? That's it. We open it. Now it's indented. Okay?
Yes.
Okay. Now, weight. We don't need weight.
Why not?
Well, I guess we'd say that. But I was gonna show you how we can ignore things and tell it not to save. But okay. Now, there's something I want to do before we get too many of these. I want to do a rename. I want to rename these pieces here so that they make more sense to me. So let me close that. Let's stop the app. I want to go into custom tick. I want to rename these. I want this to be price.
That's fair.
Price of the last trade. I don't really need a summary on here anymore because it actually says what it is. Bid rate. This is the highest bid price.
So
I'm going to actually call it
price.
Yeah, highest bid price. Highest bid price. Like that. And I'm going to change this to
lowest ask price.
There you go. Lowest ask price. And now I don't need these summaries, right? Symbol. I'm a little bit, does JSON Convert support annotations for the names? I think the answer is yes to that. Like for example, there's like you can get like a JSON ignore, I think, something like that. If you mean an annotation like that. So we can say, I don't want to save this one. JSON property. Tell me about that. What's that? Does that have default value handling? Nice. So I can specify whether it's got a default value or not, I bet, and doesn't save it. It's got a property name. Oh, sweet. I can give it a property name. So I can say something like, well, we're going to save this. Instead of saying last trade price, we can just save this out as price, for example. Does that make sense? And so it'll be saved out as price. And then we could also do this. So this makes the JSON file smaller. We could come down here, call this one bid, and call this one ask. And now if we run it and we save it, we should see these show up in there. We should. We can also do this. Custom tick is used here. Here's weight. Let's say we didn't want to save it. I should be able to come in here and say JSON ignore, like this. And now we won't see weight written out. Okay? So let's test both of those and see how those work. Need to get a little bit of data. We need to select something with points in it. Now, there's probably data coming in, but they're not changing the price, so we were like cleaning up those dots. All right, we got some data. Do you want to do a selection? Okay, we should have 2 data points in that range, I think. Yep, there's your count of 2. Serializing the object. and you can already see, look here, see price, see bid and ask, and we run it like that, and now we go in to, looks like Notepad, we lost it. That instance, I may have closed it down. We'll start up Notepad again. We'll open it up. Gonna be in the same folder by chance. And all files. There it is. And that's what it looks like. 2 data points. Bid, price, bid, ask. Cool?
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, thanks for that, Coding Gorilla. That JSON property made that nice. Also notice weight is not in there anymore.
No.
Right? Okay, cool. Next week, we've got to reconstitute, bring them back in. Now, here's the thing. If we are going to bring it back in and we are going to use weight, we do want to actually save weight. So I'm going to go back to my stock data point, my custom tick, and we are going to get rid of the JSON ignore. No, it was back over here on stock data point. It was here. We get rid of that. We're going to continue to use weight. Next, we want to do a test load on it, I think. And I think we can do it right in the code for now. So now what I want to do is I want to say read all text, and I want to give it that, and we're going to create a new string. Call it deserialized well, it's still serialized object. I'm going to call it like the read from file stir is equal to that. I'm going to set a breakpoint. Well, we got a breakpoint already here. Let's hit the button. So we'll select some things. We'll select 3 data points here. 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll go in there. So we should see 4 points in range. Edits were made. Deleting an attribute. Oops. Okay. We'll delete that later. Okay. Sorry, hit the button again. Test selection. All right. So 4 data points. We're saving it out. We're going to read it back in. After we read the file from the string, we're going to go to JSON convert, and we're going to call deserialize object. Deserialize object, and it's a generic method. It asks us for the type that we want to deserialize. The type is a list of stock data points. That's the type. It's not just a stock data point, it's a list of stock data points, which is a type. Coding Gorilla says he's a senior software engineer, software architect, DevOps, network engineer. Last man says, no wonder you're so knowledgeable. Yeah, that's awesome. DevOps, network engineer, I am not that guy. Okay, we're going to introduce a local for this. And so now we've got our the data that we brought in. This needs, I think, a string. What value are we going to deserialize? What data am I going to pass in here?
I'm not sure. Oh. Is it the application data in environment.special folder?
It's going to be what we read from this text file here. We're going to read all that data in, then we're going to pass it in. Then we're going to have data. And now what we want to do is check to make sure this data is equal to that data. And I think I'm going to create a method called r_equal, and I'm going to pass in points in range and data. Points in range and data. And we'll declare that method. And we're going to say, we're going to rename these to range 1, and this one is going to be range 2. All right. So if I want to find out if these lists are equal, the first thing I can do to check if they're equal is see if they have the same count of numbers. So I'm going to say, hey, if range1.count is not equal to what? then return false. What goes here?
Range 2 dot count? No, yeah.
Okay, if range 1 dot count is not equal to range 2 count, return false. Then I know the counts are the same. Then I can create a for loop here that goes between 0 and range 1 dot count, and I can now check to see, hey, if range 1 of I is not equal to range 2 of I. Something along these lines. This also supports set operations like intersect and the like. And I'm not familiar enough with those to know what to do next, last on that. Similarly, I'm like, well, I think we're going to have similar problems to what I've already got at this point, which is, what's this equal comparison going to be? Because they are, because I don't have an implicit conversion, I don't have implicit equals overload for these. These are just going to check to see if their points in time, their points in memory, their addresses are the same or not. And they will return false because they're two different places. So I guess I could do an R equals like this, equals, I could do that too. But even that, I think we have to do an override on. Something along those lines. I'll turn the reference into a reference equals if it's a class. Yep, I know. I'm going to get around it. Is where I'm going to go. I think you're talking about the before part. The equals I'm not sure about. I want to double check equals. Oops. Yeah, it's virtual, so we can override that. So we can override the equals is what we can do. So if the range equals that, or if it does not equal it, then we can do what? We're going to return something. If range 1 does not equal range 2, what are we going to return?
Then we're going to return false.
Okay. All right. So we're going through the whole list. And what do we do if we get to here?
Return true.
What I'm going to do there. Lessman's giving me a link out here. Let's take a look at this. Set operations. Moves duplicate values from a collection. So we still have to do the equals override. So distinct removes duplicate values from a collection, except returns the set difference, which means the elements of one collection that do not appear in a second. Sweet. So that's awesome. Intersect returns the set intersections, which means the elements that appear in each of the two collections. Returns the set union, which means unique elements that appear in either of the two selections. All right. So do we do... I'm not sure if this is going to remove from the one collection itself. Distinct. I need to see usage on it. Distinct. Yeah, distinct is just all for itself. Okay, that's super cool. Except, all right, so what we want to do is one except the other is what I think we want to do. So we can come back to the code. Let's see if I understand this correctly. We can come in and say range 1 except range 2, like that, and set that equal to the result. And at this point, if I've got this right, technically in my opinion, what you're doing is better because it will short circuit and stop iterating as soon as a mismatch is found. The set operations will always process all elements. That is a good point. So let's talk about that, Campbell, so that point is understood. This is going to process all elements in the set. Now, I don't know if you're off in the weeds yet or not, but maybe. This, as soon as we find a difference, we're out and done. Do you see what's going on?
Yeah.
This is faster. This code is faster or the same speed as this. Does that make sense? This code is almost always going to be faster in the most real life situations than this. So we can continue to do this check. I'm going to just comment this out for now because I think Coding Gorilla is right on this. So we're going to go do this. We do have to override the equals. We need to do that. And so to do that, we're going to go into our stock data point. So we can do a conversion of one stock data point to another. And we're going to do an O equals override, which is going to look like this. The template is op equals, whoops. It's op equals equals, like this. Okay. And I'm going to stop the application. We're going to pass in 2 data points to it, like this. Let's see. Got 2 equals in here. Okay. We'll get rid of this. Or maybe. Okay. Typical discussion between faster versus easier to understand. Do we even have enough data points so that the spread matters? No. We don't, Lasamat. So Lasamat's because it has a great counterpoint as well. We don't at this point, but the reason I favored it is that I have no conceptual limit on how many data points we might be working with in the future. And so moving in a space where we are faster seems like wiser to me, is what it does. Okay, so now at this point, we need to compare the instance of the 2 pieces. So we need to basically say, hey, look, does time equal time? Does weight equal weight? So we'll say, hey, if time is not equal to obj.time, then what am I going to return?
Oh, then you're going to return false.
Okay, good. Then I need to go down and I need to say, hey, if weight is not equal to obj.weight,
return false.
Return false. Obj is coming from up there. See it? It's the parameter passed in. Okay. Let's rename this to compare point. Then I want to come down and say, hey, if tick, is that what it's called? I think it's called tick. Tick is not equal
to
compare point dot tick.
False.
Return false. And then what do I return here?
True. True.
Now, this one right here, we're going to have to do the same op equals override down here for tick as well. Is what we're going to have to do. So that line of code can work for custom tick.
Oh. Wait.
Tell me.
Why? Can I scroll up a bit?
Mm-hmm.
Why is it a double equals here?
Because it's an overload for the comparison operator, which is a double equals. And look at the not equals overload. It just simply says return not of, and then it uses the equals overload. Okay. So what's cool about this? It now allows us to compare 2 different pieces and ask a question about them. Right? You can create operator overloads for all kinds of things, like greater than or less than or equal, all kinds of those things, right? If we wanted to do that. We might be something to go back and think about for supercalc. For a super number, it might be interesting to have greater than or less than kind of pieces as well. All right. And last minute, I'm going to go back in, just FYI, I'm going to go back in, we're going to write it both ways. So we take a look and we can really go back and look at that problem again. In fact, I'll probably do it. We'll end up commenting out the code I wrote, and we'll just make a note that it's, you know, likely faster. Okay, finally down into here where we've got our to-do down here. We're going to say, if obj dot highest bid price, if highest bid price is not equal to that highest bid price, what are we going to return?
False.
This is the equals for the custom tick. The next one is what? Lowest ask price? If lowest price is not equal, we'll return false.
Yes.
If, what is the trade? What's it called?
Last trade rate?
Last trade price is not equal. We're going to return false. And is there one more? It's the symbol.
Yes.
If the symbol is not equal to the symbol, we'll return false. And then otherwise we'll return true. Okay? All right. So with that now, we go back over into main window. Our equals right up here. We're going to come back and do this. We're going to do this a slightly different way now. Last minute said, I don't imply I'm right, just like an open discussion about topics like this. Well, and I think it's useful. So, and I kind of want to learn this anyway. So, except, if I do this, except that, it's kind of like a minus as I understand it. Okay? Which means if this contains, wait, is that going to work? That's not what I want. I don't think I want except, because I think it's like a minus, and is it, let's go back and read what it says here for it. The set difference, elements of one collection that do not appear in the second, it's a minus intersect, which means the elements that appear in each of the two collections. So I could do intersect and check the count afterwards, and how would I know that they're equal? Yeah, suggestion is, Coding Gorilla says you would do range 1 except range 2 any. I disagree with that, Coding Gorilla. I think that does range 1 minus range 2. But what that means then is if there's anything in range 2 that's not in range 1, it would be lost. Because you can't subtract that negative element. It would not appear, based on what I'm understanding here. It's the elements of 1 that do not appear in a second collection. So it's a minus, but it doesn't say anything about if the second collection has elements that don't appear in the first. So what I'm thinking is we do an intersect and just make sure that the intersection has the same count. That's what I'm thinking we do. If they were equal, it should return an empty enumerable. Oh! Yeah, no, I suggest, I don't think so, Coding Gorilla. I'm still based on what I'm reading, not experienced with this, but what I'm reading is if range 1 is empty and range 2 has a whole bunch, range 1 except range 2, any is going to still return empty because we're starting with an empty number that we're subtracting from.
Huh?
Yeah, it's a minus. Last minute says I just checked up on it, so we would need it 2 times. Yeah, we would need to do it from 2 different ways. It's a minus. Okay, yeah, Coding Gorilla says good point. He's on board. So the way to do it once is to do an intersect and make sure that the same count at the end. Elements that appear in 2 collections. That's what I think is the way around this. So the code looks like this, I think. Whoops, intersect, like that. And then we say, hey, if result.count equals either one of them, range.count, no, I have to also just compare against range2.count. Yeah, I kind of need this no matter what at the top. So we're going to check that. And then we can come down here and we can say, hey, return that. What's my problem here? Can't get count. Method, group, and int. Count is something different here. I have to do a toList.count. Not sure how to get a count on an IEnumerable. Result.count, it's just a method? Okay, cool. Like that? Okay. I think that'll maybe work. So then we'll come down here and we'll say, hey, if R equal, maybe if we're equal, we're going to go in here. Maybe we'll say, hey, title is equal to, it worked. Like that. And then down here we'll say title is it failed. Failure. Like that. Okay? Let's try that. Everybody cool with that?
Yeah.
Are you cool with that, Campbell? Hold on one second, kids. All right, we're good. I'm gonna call the person back. Okay.
Wait, did you unmute yourself?
Did I introduce myself?
Did you unmute yourself?
Yeah, I'm unmuted. Okay. Thanks for asking. Stack Overflow. Oh, that's not good. Our equals is going back in to itself. Turn right is equal to null. Left equals. Let's set a breakpoint here so we can follow it a little bit better. All right. Yeah, we're Stack Overflow, Campbell, which means we're calling back in, and so I just want to see where it is. I can't quite see it. So let's get some data. Select it. Okay. Interesting. Just there, I'm getting the Stack Overflow. Just on this very first line here, we get in here. So we're going left is null. We come in. Why is it left is null? Left is a stock data point. Yeah, I know, I get that. So we use this very same one back right in. Yeah, I'm like, you don't need this right here, like that. Coding Gorilla is suggesting using reference equals left null. Let's try that. Which means we're going to do the same thing here. What does left is null do? I don't think I have left is null. Did I do that? Maybe I misread that. Return reference equals right is null. Okay, left equals right. And that should get us down to there. And where we get the comparison. All right, we'll try that. Thanks for that suggestion, Coding Gorilla. I've not used reference equals before. All right, let's try that. Already in here, okay. We have null coming in. And we're there. I think we're in better shape. I'm going to run it. Yeah, it looks like we're responsive. Okay, so I'm going to get a selection of a couple of things, test it. Bittrex tick was null coming in. Someone passed in null to create a new custom tick. Let's look at our call stack. I was going to ask you a question, Kevin. What window do we look at when we want to see how we got here?
The call stack.
The call stack is the answer to that question. So we're coming from deserialized object. So deserialized object. Oh, I think I know what's going on. We need a second constructor for this to work in custom tick. I think it's calling this, and it's passing in null because it's the only constructor it found. We need to create another constructor in here that is just empty, so it gets here instead of there. Okay, so let's stop it and run it again. Yeah, interesting discussion in the chat room right now about comparing about left is null. All right, give me a selection. Hit the test selection button. Okay, cool. We're here instead of here, right? So let's clear the breakpoint, run it. Good. I think we need another breakpoint out here. Did we get anything in the title? Oh, guess what? We're writing to the title somewhere else. Let's go find where we're writing to the title in a way that's here. We're doing this. I don't think we need this anymore.
No.
We have that.
The hint.
We have the hint that works. Who's there, Camel?
Hello, Florida.
In the house.
So it says Friday pumpkin rolling. Okay, so give me a test selection. Hit the test selection button again. We're looking for the words "it worked" or "failure" to show up in the title.
Failure.
Campbell. 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 Campbell.
This is me?
The code let us down. All right, let's go figure it out. Let's go figure it out. Why is it a failure? We want to figure out why we're not equal to it. I think we want to step into R equal. Let's go in here. All right, give it to me again. Okay, they both have 3. Okay, what happens here? This result intersect. I guess I have to call this. Wait, here, I can click here to evaluate. And can I drill into it? The result is 0. So we need to come back up here and we need to set breakpoints on our equals overrides and see what's going on. So I'm going to set a breakpoint here. And then I'm going to hit F10. Huh? It didn't even execute it? It didn't even execute? We didn't even get to this breakpoint? That doesn't make any sense to me. How can it know? All right, so let's do this instead. I'm not sure what's going on with this. Maybe it's only using the addresses of. Let's try something different. Since that's not working for us, Campbell, we'll go back to the other piece that we wrote before. And we'll do this. Oh. So now we're inside it, good. Inside it here. All right, I'm seeing some pieces in here. I think I want to change this to the reference equals as well. Like that. I feel like I like that better. All right. Still a failure. What am I going to do? Where am I going to set my breakpoint is I guess what I'm wondering on this. Interesting that intersect doesn't work. Yeah, I'm a little worried about it. But it could be there's something else down here going on. It could be that my proof that intersect doesn't work is that we didn't get to the breakpoint. It wasn't calling this. But I'm wondering, is there a world where it bypasses my breakpoint if I'm in the middle of the intersect call? I don't know. It doesn't feel like that should be the case, but I guess what I'm going to have to do is this, Campbell. I'm just going to set a breakpoint on all these return falses here. So we're looking for some problem here. Anywhere that my equals override returns false, I want to set a breakpoint. Okay, that's here, and then I want to do the same in my stock data point. I want to return false. I want to set breakpoint there, 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 and there. This is, I think, the only way I really know that we can do this well. Okay, compare point is equal to null. Ooh, that's actually good information. Let's get out of here. Oh, well, I'm in the wrong. All those breakpoints, hold on a second. Because the code's here, it is checking and it's going to say null. That is true, that is the right space. What I need to do is I need to disable all my breakpoints for a second. Just disable them, run it. Then get to this point, set one breakpoint that's good, test the selection now, and now enable all my breakpoints before the call to R equal. So I'm going to say debug, enable all breakpoints. Do you see that?
Yeah.
And so now they'll all be enabled. So now when I hit F10 on this, or maybe even run, there we go. We do get a null comparison here. What's the call stack? I'm sorry, wait, what's the question? The question is, how do I tell how I got here? What window tells me how I got here?
The call stack.
Okay, fine. You got it right. Left is right. The compare point is equal to null. Well, guess who wants to use reference equals here?
You do.
Yeah, it's me. I'm the guy who wants to do that. We're going to change that. Oops, I can't do it. I'm in the middle of a call. I'm going to restart it. I can't change a call that I'm on. Let's do this. Clear that. Clear that. Debug. Disable all breakpoints. Set one on R equal. Let's run. We're going to do the same test. Coding Gorilla says, I think the set operations use a comparer. Yeah, I think you're right. I like your shrug, Surly Dev. Surly Dev's got a snowman shrugging in the chat room.
Wait,
yeah, I bet you're right on the comparer. What'd you say, Kimmel?
Do snowmen have shoulders?
You can make them have shoulders. Do you see the chat? Do you see the stream chat, Camel?
I don't.
Oh, you don't? You can go to twitch.tv/coderushed to bring up the chat. Just pause the video so it's not, we don't have a loop, an audio loop coming in and it doesn't suck up extra bandwidth. Can we do that for you?
No, I think I got it.
Yeah, twitch.tv. Meanwhile, back over here on my machine.
Twitch.tv/.
So we find out iComparable out here. No? No iComparable. but I bet it's it. Oh, you got a link right here. I'm going to give you this link, and what we can do is we can create a Stream Deck button for it, Campbell. Did you get it already?
Yeah, I have it up.
It's this. That's it right there.
Oh.
And so, Shirley, can you do another? Give me that so we can see. Go back and see the shrugging snowman again. All right, let's come back over while we do that. While you wait for Shirley to come over there, let's go back over to the code. Can you get the code working back up there? You need to get the chat without the overhead of the video player. Yeah. And did you get rid of the video so the video is not playing?
Yes.
Okay. So now we're running. Let's do the test. We got some data. Let's select some data. Hit the test select. Go ahead. You select it and hit test selection. All right. So now we've got 5 data points coming in, and the ranges are different. I got 5 in one, and wait. Oh, I'm sorry. They're not different. I just read that wrong. Okay. And then we're going to go through and do this test for each one. We're going to see what's going on here. Ooh, whoa, whoa, whoa. The weight is not the same. Do you see that?
Yeah. Oh. I think that the compare point.weight might only be taking in the ones that did happen.
Cody Gorilla says because you excluded it from the JSON. See what I'm highlighting up there?
Yeah.
JSON ignore. It's not serializing it. It's not saving it out, not bringing it back in.
Yeah. Okay.
We need to stop the app. Okay, that's good news because it shows us that our R equals overrides are working. Is what it looks like. Looks like it's happening. So all right, we're going to save that out now. You need to wait and get more data. You can even do it with one data point if you want, right? If you're impatient and want to just try it. I also think I want to create a Control A to grab everything on screen for select all.
Yeah.
Intelligence check.
That was bizarre.
I don't think I have that button.
All right, back over here. It's an intelligence check. Are you at a breakpoint?
No, I don't believe so.
Looks like you are. I'm seeing the word continue right up at the top.
Then I am.
But where are
I
we?
see a breakpoint.
There we are. We're right here in the R equals check. Okay, so I'm going to just run it. We've got breakpoints everywhere else that I think are enabled. It worked. See right up, can you see that up there in the upper left? It worked right there. Okay, so now we know that we can serialize and bring data back in based on a file name. And we know that from right there. So here's how we save, here's how we bring the data back in. That's not bad. I think it's like a not bad place to stop. I think tomorrow we'll work on creating test cases and maybe some analysis, maybe some zooming in, zooming out. That's kind of what I think. We got 10 more minutes, unless you want to keep going. What do you want to do?
I think that is a good stopping point.
Okay, so we'll stop. I'll get a raid going up there. Can you check in the code that we've got? So basically, just to summarize what we've done, we've got the ability. There's a couple things that we've got that we can do. One is we can call R equals on it on a list of data points. See that? And we can verify that they are equal to each other or different.
Yes.
Okay. And that's one of the things that we're doing. Secondarily, we figured out how to serialize that to a file and deserialize it, bring it back in. So we basically have the ability to store our data and test that our data is the same.
Yeah.
That's what we did today. Okay, thanks. Go ahead and write that. I'll get a raid up. Thanks, everybody. for joining us. Next week on Tuesday, or tomorrow, Kimball and I will be back. We'll be creating test cases tomorrow, I think.
Yeah, that makes sense.
By the way, Lassimat, Surly Dev, Coding Gorilla, really love the colors out there of your names against the dark background in the chat. The red, yellow, blue, it's looking good. You guys are looking stylish out there. I'm gonna send you guys over to Obother. Obother does some really cool stuff. Obother's working on a case for his computer, I think. Still, pretty cool stuff over there. Say hi to him out there for us. And
what else did we do? What was the other thing other than we added the ability to save the selected
save data and also detect if it's the same, to test
right.
stock data points is what we did. All right, kids, see you tomorrow and see you next week. See you 9 a.m. BTC to the moon, really 9 a.m. Okay.